if it's an option that you can talk them through that, and so they have an understanding of why it's important to have a prenuptial agreement or why you would like one. And you do it while you're in the infatuation stage and you're still really loving each other before you're in a place where it becomes an issue. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, when you go out to eat, you're at a date, first date, who should pay for the meal?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Oh, I mean, that's a...
Okay, so I'm kind of old school and I believe in chivalry.
Correct.
Okay, so I will say I believe that the man should pay. However, I do think if you're going to go out on a couple of dates, I do think there is a period of time, if the woman is in a financial situation, she should pay for some of the meals at some point too.
So they should kind of like share the pain as far as you pay this time, she pays the next, and
I'm not saying every other time. I'm just saying, at least
once a month.
She should have a gesture because men want to receive love as well, right? So yeah, and they want to feel like they can receive gratitude and that they can be taken care of as well.
So that shows a sign of the gentleman taking care of her when he's buying the meal all the time.
However, some men may actually may not even accept it, because they feel like it's their role. So it also depends on how you were raised and what your belief systems are.
Because he pays for that meal, should he be expecting something in return?
No. I mean, that's just the cutout.
I understand what you're
right
saying.
out.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I mean, but
not.
some guys think that.
Right.
When they purchase these things, that they feel like there should be some kind of expectation.
Absolutely. So if you're talking about first dates, that kind of speaks to doing things in a safe way.
Correct.
And so that means you probably should drive separately.
Yeah.
So where you go after that dinner date or what have you,
Correct.
you get to decide. So if you're going to their house, then they may have expectations. But if you're, doing the church hug and I can't wait to talk with you again, then that expectation kind of fizzles out.
Dr. Gigi, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Well, my email address is personallyenriched@gmail.com, and my business phone number is 704-968-2253. My website is personallyenriched.com. Thank you.
Final advice that you would give to our couples out there watching the show?
Talk to each other and listen as well.
Thank you, Gigi, for coming on the show. And if you want to get in contact with Gigi, because she's a real expert in relationship, and she'll be coming back on the show talking about organizational consulting. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back on the Paul Brown Show.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Paul Brown Show. That was our Arsherres Jenkins, and she was on our artist showcase. My next guest will be Miss Allyson Masters. How you doing there, Miss Masters?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is, I go by Allie, and
Allie.
yes, I am a blogger, a pianist, and a social media influencer for natural hair.
Okay, you have some nice hair.
Well, thank you.
Wow. How long have you been blogging?
Oh, I've been writing actually since I was a kid, but I started my blog about a year ago.
Okay.
I wanted to tell people personal stories that they can relate to in terms of mental health and me battling my anxiety.
You play the piano.
I do.
How long you been playing the piano?
I have been playing since I was 5.
What made you want to start playing piano?
Oh, so it's pretty funny. My mom, growing up, she's a doctor, so
Okay.
she was never really home, and she wanted me to stay as busy as possible. So she put me in piano lessons, and when I started, I despised it. I could not stand it, and I actually ended up loving it after a while.
Okay.
But that's when I started.
What type of music do you like playing?
For me, it's a mix of pop and classical, which is kind of funny. It's different, but what I like to do is I like to incorporate songs that I like from artists and kind of mesh it into my own work. And everything that I've played on my Instagram is things that I've written myself.
Oh, okay. So do you like, what inspires you? I mean, I've seen some of your clips of you playing that piano, and you know, you do a real nice job.
Thank you. So I would say my inspiration actually probably comes from more, I think actually growing up and dealing with emotional insecurities.
Okay.
I didn't really have a way to channel what I was feeling in terms of doing it verbally. So I was able to do that through playing the piano, which is when I actually really started to appreciate it.
Mm. Now, I know one of the things that you mentioned is bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so important to you?
Bullying is extremely important to me because growing up, I battled it severely starting in middle school.
Okay.
It started mainly because of my skin tone. I was not included in the Black community. I was told that I was too white, too proper, and that I thought that I was all that. And apparently my hair pissed a lot of people off. And I actually had my hair cut. Actually, I did in math class, so it got pretty bad. So it's extremely important to me
Wait a
because
minute,
I
hold on a
want.
second. You mean somebody cut your hair in math class?
They did.
Do you remember that person who did that? I
Who?
know you do. I know you do. I mean, what's that
Oh
person
my
name?
gosh. Oh yeah, I don't know where they are today. But, you know, I've forgiven them. You know, no hard feelings. You know, I mean, growing up, it's hard for everyone. And bullies, they battle things of their own. So at the end of the day, both teams are definitely battling things that are very difficult. So.
What's the most difficult thing about handling bullying?
I would say having to face it every single day at school. You know, you go through it and you pretty much live for the weekends because you know that during that time you're not going to be seeing the person that is doing the bullying, and you're not going to have to face those emotions and those insecurities. And it's hard because when you're getting bullied in front of so many people, you know, it's not just the bully's eyes that are on you, it's like the whole school. So it's extremely difficult to be able to have an outlet when you're at school for that whole entire day.
What advice would you give to the kids in the school system who are dealing with that?
My advice is it's challenging, but the best thing to do is to speak up. The problem with not speaking up is that's what leads to suicide. That's what leads to wanting to hurt yourself. That's what leads to emotional insecurities and battles, and those should never be taken on by yourself. It's important to have outlets, and people who are bullied feel like they don't have outlets because they're ashamed and embarrassed, and they don't want to be a tattletale.
Mental health. That's another topic that you are very high on. Why is that?
Well, I find it to be extremely important because growing up, I grew up with a father who was emotionally unresponsive towards me. It was very difficult for me to have a father figure when I tried to reach out so many times, tried to show love, as a young child, and getting rejected and getting told to get out of my office, or, just telling me that I need to leave because he's too busy. It's extremely important, for me, like as a child especially, the battles that came with it. I want to speak up and help others, to learn ways to channel those emotions and to channel things that you've gone through.
Did your father know you were dealing with all that? He was causing that in your life?
No, he did not. And growing up, it's hard for me to verbally express, what I'm feeling, especially as a child. I didn't really understand it. I kind of took it more on a personal level. And so that's why, I guess my relationships, growing up with male figures was very difficult. I kind of felt like I had to try extra hard to get attention.
If someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Well, they could follow my blog, which is naturallyally.com. And they also can reach out to me on my Instagram, which is ally.masters.
Thank you for coming on the show. I want you to come back and you can tell some more about bullying and mental health.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.